So we're getting into a very important story now. When I was growing up, I learned about this story in the life of Jesus, and it becomes part of the gospel story as a whole. And you think it's quite important, and then you realize that it causes a real stink at the time when it happened. And you think, I wonder why it was such a contentious thing, because you would have thought it would be positive. But we'll come to that in a minute. John 11, 1-16. Now a man named Lazarus was sick. He was from Bethany, the village of Mary and her sister Martha. So the sisters sent word to Jesus, Lord, the one you love is sick. When he heard this, Jesus said, this sickness will not end in death. No, it is for God's glory, so that God's Son may be glorified through it. Now Jesus loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus. So when he heard that Lazarus was sick, he stayed where he was for 2 more days. And then he said to his disciples, let's go back to Judea. But Rabbi, they said, a short while ago everyone tried to stone you, and yet you're going back? Jesus answered, are there not 12 hours of daylight? Anyone who walks in the daytime will not stumble, for they see by this world's light. It is when a person walks at night that they stumble, for then they have no light. After he had said this, he went on to tell them, our friend Lazarus has fallen asleep, but I'm going there to wake him up. His disciples replied, well, Lord, if he's sleeping, he'll get better. Jesus had been speaking of his death, but his disciples thought he meant natural sleep. So he told them plainly, look, Lazarus is dead, and for your sake I'm glad I was not there, so that you may believe, but let us go to him. Then Thomas said to all the rest of the disciples, yeah, let's all go, so we can die with him. Why did Jesus wait? I used to wonder this. Why did he hang around? Okay, he wanted to raise him from the dead, but why was that significant? Well, one of the key signs of the Messiah was healing a man who was born blind. Do you remember the chaos that caused among the religious rulers? They couldn't cope with it because they recognized it as a sign of the Messiah, but they didn't want their Messiah to be Jesus. No, he wasn't what they had in mind at all. So they were ready to stone Jesus right then, just for healing a man born blind. Another sign of Messiah was raising a person who had been dead for more than 4 days. So Jesus had raised people from the dead. Remember the widow's son at Nain. And he also raised the little girl from the dead, and she just died. So that wasn't such an offence, apparently. But this was because people believed the soul departed after 3 days. So you die, you wait 3 days, the soul disappears into heaven or whatever they believed at the time. So that it would be impossible for anyone to raise someone up after that time. You can't raise the dead now. He's been dead longer than 3 days. Unless they were the Son of God. Unless they were the Messiah. In which case, it was a big deal. And that's why this caused such a controversial stink. So Jesus waited until 4 days were over to make sure that the religious authorities would know exactly he was who he claimed to be. So poor old Lazarus endured sickness and death because he was a test case to prove that Jesus was who he said he was. And by the way, at the end, I do love old Thomas. He sounded like a real cheery fellow. Oh, let's all go, then we can die with him.